Today in the Drive channel, we come back with the Road Testament. I, Alex Roy, joining JF Musial.
Welcome home.
Thank you very much. Back from Area 51 and our trip to Detroit, which you can see at Live and Let Drive, my show. Sadly, Leo Parente is not here. Were I not involved with this channel, he'd be the guy I want to watch. No offense.
Everyone loves Leo Parente, and don't start ranking because I know I'll be at the bottom of your list of favorite hosts.
I just realized that ranking and ranking, in terms of insults, are derived from the same word.
Yep.
Let's move on to our topic of the day.
No, first, we need to tell people how to communicate with us.
You can communicate with us via Twitter at Drive TV.
Right there.
Right there.
I like how I can actually control this thing instead of someone else.
Nobody cares, it's technology. Let's roll into the topic.
What's the topic of today?
Cars we are excited to see coming, and a few we wish are coming but don't think they are.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, first off,
you go first.
go for it.
This car is so good, why does it ever go out of production?
Well, you know, I think what's very important, and we're speaking strictly from a U.S. standpoint on this car because there were a lot of questions raised as to whether or not this car was actually going to make it to the U.S.
But why do they ever stop importing this particular model? It's the best Golf.
Well, the R32, whatever it may be, yeah.
Whatever Golf R there is always a great car.
Yeah.
And there's a market for it. Whenever I thought I wanted one, you couldn't buy one.
Yeah.
And then when it's back, I don't want one anymore. But it's not because it's just not convenient to me. But
it's the best overall, best full package car you can buy if you love cars. You're into performance.
It's what we wish the Audi A3 was available in package-wise.
Not even.
It's just great.
It holds its ground on the road, I think. I think that's the most important part of this vehicle.
And one of the few VWs that you don't need to tune to make great.
But if you do, it's very easy and works.
You know how I feel about tuning.
Okay, next up on the list, the Veloster
Turbo.
Released at the Detroit Auto Show. So the Veloster initially was released at Detroit. 1 year later, we've got the Turbo. And this is a car that I think everyone wants. Everyone has been waiting.
I just saw a Veloster, a regular one, in LA on the street, and it looked fantastic. And we discussed the Veloster a couple months ago, and we both loved it.
Fantastic
and
vehicle.
This is the right car from the right manufacturer at the right time. It's just spot on. I mean,
a lot of people have said that this could be their next car in our realm.
If it doesn't sell, then
no. And you want to know something? It's the Veloster Turbo holds its place, and I really think it's gonna make its rounds in the rally scene too.
And
rallycross.
Why isn't this car coming from Honda?
Yeah.
Why isn't this car coming from Toyota?
Very good question.
Because they've lost their edge.
Mm-hmm.
They're not sensing what buyers really want.
Well, this is the David versus Goliath story. You've got
Well, Hyundai is no David. Hyundai is a huge corporation.
Well,
but their U.S.
from their U.S. operations, it's actually not that.
But
big.
the U.S. operation is clearly filled with people who are talking to corporate and telling them the truth.
Yeah.
And they're getting back the right cars.
Yeah. You're right. And there is that two-way communication that's very good for
There isn't a bad car in the lineup. There isn't. The Hyundai, and I've been talking to people about Hyundai, and they never believe me.
Mm-hmm.
And a few months later, they're like, I saw this car and it was a Hyundai. Good for them. No irony in my praise for this brand.
Next one.
Well, obviously the Morgan three-wheeler. Why? Because I've ordered one. It's from Morgan. I'm not going to recuse myself. I'm friends with Charles Morgan. One of the last family-owned,
so awesome,
handmade car manufacturers in the world. This is one of the first Morgans in a while, not powered by Ford or BMW engine. It uses an S&S motor, which powers Harley Davidsons. Yeah. It's got one wheel in the back. It weighs like 1,900 pounds.
You do need a motorcycle license, correct?
And you need goggles because obviously the windscreen is very low. Do I have to explain? Peter Sellers drove one in the party. It looks ridiculous. It's totally unsafe. It makes a noise. I mean, the side pipes are like a 1997 Viper in the first generation. I mean, the noise it makes. It's going to be about $40,000.
It looks like a fighter jet. It looks like something badass from World War II. Now let me ask you this.
Yeah, ask away.
And Charles Morgan, how well are these going to sell?
Well, Morgan is a very low volume manufacturer to begin with, but they're in business and they're a profitable company, and I believe he said he's taken about 300-400 orders for this car, and I bet you many of them in the United States. And this is obviously not a very expensive car to make, and it's clearly not going to be copied.
The craftsmanship.
The craftsmanship. But this is not a high technology vehicle, and it's not like another manufacturer is going to show and make a competing car.
Yeah.
The only thing that competes with it is that. I don't. What's that called? The three-wheel thing. It's like one in the front, two in the back. It's like a.
I know what
it's like a trike.
Yeah.
Trike buyers and Morgan three-wheeler buyers are not the same people.
Yeah.
And for people who want a toy, an expensive toy, well, would you rather have this or a Porsche Boxster?
You want to know something? The Porsche, exactly. Okay. If you're gonna have a Sunday driver, this is the perfect
They should just call it the Sunday driver.
The Porsche Boxster, you could drive every day of the week if you needed to. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
You could if you wanted to take this out in New York's snow. But
if you are having a bad day and want to make new friends, you drive this. Let's move on.
Fiat 500, the Abarth 500 rather. I know.
I think
it's been around. It's been around for some time, but in the U.S., it is making its debut later this year. The Fiat 500 has not done as well as expected in the U.S.
Well, let's be clear. They wanted to sell 50,000 units. That was the target, and I think they're on track to sell under 30.
Which is not good, and they are blaming that on their marketing agency, which has been fired. They have had issues with that.
It's not the marketing agency.
But you want to?
I'll tell you what it is.
I love the Fiat. I would take a Fiat any
Okay,
day.
but I'll tell you what it is.
Any day.
You can pick up one of a Fiat 500 for $15,000 to $18,000.
Yeah.
Okay, the base model.
Yeah.
They're trying to market a brand that is on the same level as Mini, which starts 20ish and goes up to up to almost 40, right? The John Cooper Works.
Yeah.
Okay, but they're trying to sell against Mini, but the initial model was like almost half the price of the better Minis, and half the performance.
Well,
they should have released this as the first Abarth. The Abarth should have come out of the gates at 22,000, and they would have sold a lot more.
It's an interesting marketing study if you release the high-end brand first, and then trickle down to lower-end brands, just the Fiat 500.
This car,
after its initial release,
it's cute, it's cool. Let me tell you, if they hadn't bothered with going up against Mini branding-wise, and they just released it, they might have sold a bunch.
Yeah.
But the Mini buyer loves Mini, and how do you talk a Mini buyer into buying something cheaper and not as good?
But you want to know where this car is going to make a lot of money for Fiat at this point?
Right.
Fleet sales. Do you know how many of these are popping up in Hertz rental cars, Avis, all those?
I believe that.
Car?
It makes sense because I'd rather rent one of these than
a Malibu.
Than anything.
If I rent a car, I don't need a lot of space. I just need some form of transportation. And for $50 a day,
I'll take this in a heartbeat.
Well,
but it sucks to be that car. It's like being like the yin and yang to the Caprice in the old days. Everybody knows you're in a rental car.
Now, this is a vehicle that is not necessarily for sale here yet, and it is more of a race car.
They're never going to sell this one.
But don't you love them for building it?
Of course.
R3T Abarth 500.
Absolutely.
The FIA spec rally car.
This should be their equivalent of the John Cooper Works. Like, they should release this thing for $35.
That's exactly where I was going with that.
Absolutely.
This is street legal. Theoretically,
it's so cool.
It could be sold here in the U.S.
So cool.
For $5,000 to $10,000 more over a Fiat 500, Abarth 500. So $33,000.
So cool.
I would buy that.
Absolutely. So cool.
Think about that. For that's less than an Audi A4. That's right about at a base 3 Series. You get a rally car.
Well, let's not talk about the 3 Series because we're going to get to that. I have some strong feelings about that car. Go ahead, say it.
Subaru BRZ.
Yep.
Toyota FT GT 86 Scion FRS here in the U.S.
First wheel drive car from
Subaru in the U.S. Yes. Goes on sale in about 2 months here in America.
How much is it?
Well, they expected retail MSRP at $26,000, a few thousand more than what they initially said, but awesome. Look, this car has about the same footprint as a Mazda Miata.
Okay.
A little bit bigger.
I love Subaru. I owned a WRX for years.
Let me finish my point. This thing, the size of a Mazda MX-5 Miata, is gigantic and interior.
Really?
I fit perfectly.
But what's the engine?
Well, it's a 200 horsepower.
Now, you're super psyched about this.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm not as psyched as you are.
Why?
I just feel like Subaru's DNA is all-wheel drive.
Okay, I do agree
That's
with
the
that.
DNA. And
you don't think that there will be an all-wheel drive version?
I'm sure there will be.
STI version. They said
when that comes, I'll be excited about it.
This is still an awesome platform.
Absolutely.
This is going to be a car that you see at track days and autocrosses like throughout the country within 6 months. This or the variation of the
when they make a better version, I'll be excited about it.
You haven't driven it. You don't know if it's a better version.
Listen, I love Subaru. Who owns one?
You own one.
There you go.
Okay. Okay, well, let's move on to our next topic.
Well, this I think is the much more exciting part, which is cars we wish would exist that may, rumor has it, exist at some point.
Yeah.
And if they don't, we hope manufacturers are listening, because I would buy any of the cars we're about to talk about.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I think enthusiasts would as well.
First one?
The first one is a car we drove in Detroit when we were shooting Live and Let Drive, which is the Buick Regal GS.
Now the episode's going to air in about a month or so, or actually less than that at this point.
Before I drove this car, I'd never driven a Buick, and I expected it to be utter garbage. But this car was fantastic.
Awesome.
But this car, which is based in the Opel Insignia, sold in Europe, is powered by a 2-liter,
2-liter four-banger,
four-cylinder engine, putting out
280-something horsepower.
An amazing engine.
Yeah.
But it's only front-wheel drive. In Europe, this car is available with all-wheel drive and a 3.6-liter engine.
Yeah.
Now, if this,
and we had ours with a 6-speed manual,
which is great.
Yep.
Now,
Brembo brakes, it was awesome.
Ride quality, comfort, size. This car was shockingly good.
And it looked great.
I love this car.
People stopped us in Detroit
and asked us what it was.
Yeah.
And
Detroit.
Let's be full-on serious here. What do we want? What do buyers really want? Well, clearly, the same engine with the all-wheel drive powertrain would be a little heavier, a little slower. That would be a great car. That's like a base. That's better than a base A4.
Yeah.
Okay. Front drive or all-wheel drive. Yeah. And I would even choose this over a base A4.
Yeah.
However, this car, if they made a Buick Regal Grand National edition of this car with a serious engine and all-wheel drive and priced at, $50, and this would be something really serious.
Yep.
Different from a Cadillac CTS and much cheaper than a Cadillac CTS V. And in my opinion, better looking.
Well, that's same, that would be going after the same.
A great car that could be even better twice over. Buick Regal Grand National. Please build it.
When compared to the new Fusion, I like this design better.
Yeah, it's a great design. As long as they don't...
And it's going to sell like hotcakes in
as long as
China.
The rims are not chrome.
That doesn't bother me.
Let's go to the next one.
Okay, BMW 1 Series. Now, this is your topic, and this is your choice. I'm not going to talk about this. This is all you.
The new 3 Series is coming. And
the F30, yeah.
Undoubtedly a great car. The new 5 is great. And the new M5 is great. And the 3 it's always great. But the new 3 is the same size as an E39 5 Series. I own an M5. I own an E39 5 Series.
Gigantic.
So the new 3 is the size of an old 5. The 3 was supposed to be the compact 4-door sedan with handling and performance at different price levels, different the benchmark. Well, the benchmark has grown, and it's not just a question of the weight added by laws of safety. This is a packaging and product lineup decision by BMW. So if you really want a 3, you need to buy a 1.
Well, if you want the 3 of
the classic 3,
the E46 3 Series, which we all love,
so
the 1 Series is the right size.
Except that this is not what a 3 is supposed to look like. In my mind, this is a wagon.
This is a very bad-looking 1 Series. The new design 1 Series is you can see that they're connecting the headlights to be much more upon their design language. We see it with the 3 Series. The new X6 facelift is going to have the headlights connected.
And let us be said, the one is a great handling car. Yeah. It is the best handling BMW, and the most flingable and the most fun to drive. More fun in many ways than almost any version of the 3 Series. Yeah. When they make a 4-door 1 that looks like an old 3 used to.
Like an A3 sedan is to the A4.
Exactly.
We need a 1 Series sedan.
Yes.
That is a small sedan.
And that'll be a great car.
Which is awesome.
A great car.
Finally.
What's the last one? Oh,
Volvo.
Well, we didn't discuss a few other models that I wanted to, so we won't get into too much. But now that Saab is gone, why doesn't Volvo, which has a B+ lineup, okay, why doesn't Volvo take the reindeer by the horns and give us these Swedish cars we want. Not our design cars. Our design is like putting the M package on your 335 or a Sport S line on our Audi. Why don't they give us real R cars? And why don't they start by giving us a C30R?
A legitimate,
an S60R, not R design. The reviews of the S60R design are good, but they're not great. And there are still people who want to be weird and buy a Swedish car. And Volvo is so close to giving them the cars that they want. Just do it.
The problem with Volvo is that they're in trouble. The past 6 auto shows I've gone to, you can tell that something's not right with
somebody's wheezing at headquarters.
Something's wrong.
Yeah.
And I haven't quite put my finger on it, well, aside from the obvious of the money situation. But
their marketing is stale.
Besides that, the design language is...
S60 is a good-looking car. S60 looks a lot like the Buick Regal. In fact, the Buick Regal looks like a better like what the S60 is supposed to look like.
Look at the Land Rover Evoque.
Yes.
That car took the Land Rover design language to a completely different level and revolutionized that brand.
And Volvo hasn't done that.
It's going to do very well for that company. Right?
You're right.
Volvo has not taken the next step.
No.
In the decade. They haven't taken that big leap with one amazing design.
I mean, the packaging is there, the technology is there, and the brand is there, but that edge is not there. And the S60R design is so close, so close. They need to, and the C30 is the one they can take to the next level.
Good. Well, that's it for today. Let's remind everyone.
But what about the Cadillac ATS and the XTS?
No.
Okay.
You do like the ATS.
I do.
But no one's driven it yet, and we don't know how well it's going to do. It's good to be serious about it. Sorry. Either way, if you want to communicate with us, and if you think we're stupid, use @DriveTV.
Email JF directly at DriveTV.
Don't give away my email address. Anyway, @DriveTV on Twitter. Tweet at us, twat at us, whatever it may be. Communicate. Tell us what you think about our choices.
Tell us why I'm wrong.
Add your own, and I think that's it for now.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.